Only 3 races remain in Season 4 of the IORA Cup Series, and for the second week in a row, big tracks. And it's time from Talladega instead to move on to the Pocono Raceway for the Pennsylvania 200. Welcoming you all back to the IORA Cup Series, the Thursday night thriller live on FTN, and the grid is already set after qualifying concluded. Sean Conklin and Daniel Mosteller are locked in a very close title fight. However, looking at our qualifying results, it looks like the championship might come down to tonight, seeing a major development in our starting grid. We'll keep an eye on that now as the iRacing official pace car is set to get moving momentarily. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, commentating and producing alongside the racing action. I'm David Kreutz, and if you enjoyed tonight's presentation, be sure to leave a like on the stream. It would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, qualifying, as we mentioned, has been concluded for quite some time now. A few minutes ever since qualifying ended, and we have our results to look over. 13 drivers registered for tonight's event, so without further ado, let's get right into it and find out what's going on with our 13th race of Season 4. Starting grid's been set, and without further ado, this is your lineup for the Pennsylvania 200 at the Pocono Raceway. Sean Conklin, the number 54 machine, will find himself at the top of the board, pole position, and he's going to find himself right beside James Thurston. Number 4 has been on a bit of a tear as of recent successful performances several weeks in a row, so Thurston looking to head back to victory lane as he will start in second, right beside your pole sitter in Sean Conklin. Then from there, third place is going to be occupied by River Page, and the number 24 machine is going to be inside of the podium in qualifying. Next to him, it'll be Henry Caloff, and the number 63. Caloff is quick at Pocono, was runner-up to James Thurston's victory in the FORL Cup Series, so keep an eye out for the number 63 machine all throughout the night. In addition, only Chase Schaefer rounding out the top 5, joined late in practice, was able to get the qualifying times necessary to start up in front. Vincent Guecci is going to be starting 6th, and Vinny's going to bring a new paint scheme to the table, so look out for that 09 machine tonight. Brand new look for that blue oval. Then from there, we're going to be Brandon Dugan starting in 7th, and Marcus Vanderlee starting in position number 8, and round out the single digits from there. Brexton Whitaker 9th, and Michael Deitch going to be position number 10. Chase Schaefer is going to have damage, and it looks like he will fall further back down, but it'll be Alexander Schumacher in 11th. Then from there, TJ Hanley's going to be in 12th in the 08 machine, and to round out your 13 driver field, it's going to be row 7, the only driver in this row, Casey Bentz, and the number 36. That is your starting grid for tonight's event. Qualifying has concluded, and 2 of IORA's fiercest competitors line up on the front row. James Thurston on the high side, Sean Conklin set to take the championship lead back tonight. He's on the bottom. The green flag will wave, and we are underway from Pocono. Welcome to the Pennsylvania 200. At the line, James Thurston going to lead him through lap 1, number 4 machine out and on the way, and as we mentioned, Henry Caloff, quick at Pocono, going to be able to get up the second very quickly. Vincent Guecci is then going to be 3rd, River Page will be 4th, and Sean Conklin will round out the top 5 as it stands. Now when we discuss Sean Conklin tonight, his biggest rival all season long is not in this event. Substantial blinking for Alexander Schumacher in the background. That might affect the remainder of this race, but for Conklin, he will have, effectively speaking, the championship lead coming out of tonight. As you can see right now, number 54 machine going to be driving through with no 87 machine in sight. Daniel Osteller, who was just barely able to find himself now at the top of the championship board, he's not here tonight. He is taking a drop week. So for Content, this is a major opportunity in regards to making it up to the top of the board, as Vincent Guecci is going to go for a self-spin, and the 09 machine goes around spinning, brings out the first caution, and Vinny looks to have trouble coming out of turn 3. Yellow flag is out, and Vincent Guecci is the initial cause. We'll take a look back, but it looks like some trouble early for the driver of the 09. As we mentioned, brand new paint scheme for Vincent Guecci, and it looks like already some troubles. No major damage, but it looked to be a kerfuffle coming out of turn 3. So take a look at this again. Vincent Guecci going to be on his own at first, trying to get things going, overcorrecting. Not really an option in this case because River Page comes right back up, and for Guecci, he's going to take it, ends up spinning on his own, and luckily nobody else hits him. You saw Chase Schaefer so close to making contact, luckily does not make any, and as a result, Vincent Guecci, who's now going to find himself at the back of the field, he is going to get back on the way without much an issue. He's still driving as it stands, 13th and last for Vincent Guecci, and now as we take it back to our live feed, you'll see he's still driving, and now he's going to catch up the field about 20 seconds away from your leader, going to be taking it once again through turn 3, hopefully not with the previous result. It's already your first caution of the night here and now. Vincent Guecci going to find some troubles early on here in the Pocono Raceway. James Thurston has led every lap so far with some gains from Henry Caloff, keep that in mind, and River Page now in third. Top 3 as it stands. Bit of shifting ever since the start of this one, but a huge jump for James Thurston keeps him as the race leader, and just like that, we are back in motion here in the IORA Cup Series after a thrilling night at Talladega, where a part-time driver, Jacob Wilkerson, got things, of course, done well. Pole position, race victory to end it all. It was a very, very solid run for that number 43 team. Few hiccups along the way, but overall, Jacob Wilkerson, no doubt, the dominant driver on that night. But here for James Thurston, he's returning knowing that there's an opportunity at the race win. He was very quick at Talladega, has super speedway speed, but it's always tricky to avoid wrecks consistently at a track like Talladega, something that isn't often done well, to say the least, and it cost him quite a few positions in his overall finishing order. So for James Thurston right now, leading once again, he knows that if he gets out in front, most often he'll be able to pull away for a dominant performance. Just a week ago, in addition to IORA's event at Talladega, it was the FORL Cup Series event at Homestead, where James Thurston went on a tear, led almost every lap of that race, and nobody else was by him all throughout the night. However, he's going to come down to pit road this time by and kick off some pit strategy calls. Yellow flag is out, pit road is busy, and James Thurston will make the first move down and in, and looks like already some decisions being made by drivers in the field. Thurston, Alexander Schumacher, Casey Bentz, TJ Hanley, and Vincent Guecci all coming in this time by, so it's going to be 9th on down for the drivers on pit road. 8 drivers remain on the track right now, and just because of that big shift for James Thurston's strategy, it'll be Henry Caloff as your new race leader. Just like that, new driver at the top of the board this season in the IORA Cup Series. We've seen Henry Caloff almost every race on the campaign, has not yet been able to find that first career trip to victory lane. One-time winner in the Saturday Night Truck Series. He's gotten it done there before. Best career finish in the FORL Cup Series came at this track, and already showing the field he's going to be one of the guys to keep a watch out for all throughout this race. The number 63 machine, second place in the FORL Cup Series race at Pocono, same distance, and James Thurston ended up as the winner. Came down to what looked to be entirely a fuel mileage race till the very end. Also was about strategy in tires, and for Caloff, he decided to stay on the older tires on his final pit stop, and went the rest of the race, a few overtimes as well, on that older set of rubber. And while able to maintain the second position, it was James Thurston and the newer tires that ended up pulling through for the overall race win. But Caloff can stretch those tires better than almost anyone in this field, so push comes to shove and strategy becomes tighter. It could be Henry Caloff, the man to watch out for here, as he'll take him across the start and go through the start-finish line one more time before we get this restart on the move. Restarting at lap number 7. It is Henry Caloff, your race leader, River Page second, then it's going to be Sean Conklin third, Marcus Vanderlee fourth, Chase Schaefer fifth, Brandon Dugan, position number 6. Yellow flag is out one more time. We're going to go through the start-finish line. We'll show you now. Choose rules in effect. Caloff going to go high. River Page opts to drop down low. He'll get up to the front row as a result. Marcus Vanderlee will opt to stay right behind your race leader. Chase Schaefer going to get an end-of-line penalty, so it looks like he will be sent to the back of the field. And just like that, penalty for the number 99. He missed the choose rule area that you have to go through. It's the start-finish line. So if you touch the center of the start-finish line, effectively speaking, your position on the restart will be invalidated, and as a result, Chase Schaefer will start at the back of the field. So a black flag for Chase Schaefer. Nothing all too major. He'll drop down to 11th right now. However, still going to be some track position to keep in mind. He lost it, and now he's got to fight to get back up to the top. It's going to be River Page down low, making some gains on the bottom side. Leader Henry Caloff opts to go up top, and they'll get back at it this time by for what will be a lap set of an 80 here in the IORA Cup Series. 7 laps into the Pennsylvania 200, and here we go again, led this time by Henry Caloff. And now with the iRacing official pace car coming in this time by, going through the third and final turn here in the Pocono Raceway, modeled after Milwaukee Mile. It is the shortest of the 3 turns in regards to its banking, and that is, of course, much different than that of the first turn at Trenton and the second at Indianapolis. Very little to rely on besides your driving ability, and most often the bottom side is king out of Milwaukee. So they'll come through turn 3 this time by, as the iRacing official pace car says goodbye. Time to see what Henry Caloff can do as your new race leader. Marcus Vanderlee gives a shove. Caloff gets things going. Green flags back out, led by Henry Caloff. Vanderlee drops down to the bottom side, gonna lunge deep in, and that's gonna get Caloff the red first money, taking it up to the top side. 4 wide for the race lead. Sean Conklin down low, and it's gonna be trouble as they come down to Indianapolis. Someone's gotta give, yet nobody has. Green flag waves, and Caloff's got the lead. Now gonna be 3 wide for second, as it's gonna be Caloff getting away once more. Vanderlee goes up top, washes way up high, and River Page is gonna get second as a result, collecting himself. Sean Conklin gets into third, and Marcus Vanderlee now going to be dropping like a rock. He's going to be side by side with Braxton Whitaker, and now drivers are beginning to settle in. Very close to trouble there with Marcus Vanderlee, aggressive as ever. He tried to take Caloff out of his line, couldn't quite find the room, and going 4 wide out of turn 1. It's a lot of banking and a lot of room as they go through Trenton, but not enough to make 4 wide work coming through the tunnel turn in Indianapolis. So just like that, Brandon Dugan gets by, and Marcus Vanderlee now sees trouble here with Michael Deitch also coming through at the same time. Going to be beating and banging. Vanderlee gets in the Schaefer. They'll be hooking each other all over. Yellow flag due to fly, and that it does. Cautions out again, and Marcus Vanderlee gets in the Chase Schaefer. Yellow flag is out for the second time tonight, and it looks like Vanderlee's troubles will continue. Marcus Vanderlee now going to be 13th and last in the field. Brings out the yellow flag, involving himself with Chase Schaefer, and Chase got that end of line penalty. Had he not, it's very likely he would have gotten away from the issue, and maybe he wouldn't have been involved in that wreck. So take a look now as Schaefer is going to stay in the bottom. Vanderlee wiggles as they go out of turn 2, then comes back into Schaefer. Vincent Guecci might have given a tap on the nose, and Michael Deitch tries to straighten Schaefer out. Doesn't quite work. Schaefer does avoid hitting Deitch, and it looks like Alexander Schumacher avoids the both of them, but it's going to be Marcus Vanderlee who initiated the contact, disconnecting from the race. That is his night. Chase Schaefer gets away, and currently he is running in 12th. So 1 retiree, and just like that, trouble for Marcus Vanderlee. He's out of this race. And 9 laps in, one retiree on your second caution of the event. Henry Kaloff now has the race lead. James Thurston has jumped up into 4th, and the yellow flag is out once again. 9 laps into the 80 here in the Pocono Raceway. Early troubles and not a lot of green flag running so far. However, we've only just got things started. Still hope to see a little bit better racing as the night progresses. So Henry Kaloff is going to lead. River Page is going to be second. Sean Conklin is third, and James Thurston is 4th. That's the way they roll, with Brandon Dugan rounding out the top 5. And right now, the TH Designs number 55 machine making it back up to the top 5. His all-time career best finish coming through as a second-place finisher at the Bristol Motor Speedway this season. Oh, so close to having the pace to go for the race win. Just did not have enough time to catch up to the top spot in Sean Conklin at the very end. Brandon Dugan has had some very solid runs, some career runs as of late. And right now, I'm going to come down to pit road with the rest of the leading group as they come down, and in this time by Kaloff stays out, so does Vincent Guecci. Most of the field comes in though, and a big pit cycle under yellow this time through. Conklin going to be down and in. James Thurston's going to be right there too. And just like that, pit road getting busy for what looks to be the first big pit stop cycle of the night. Coming down and in, Henry Kaloff would be the only driver now not to take one pit stop on the day at the very least. Right now, the rest of the field down and in. Conklin going to get the edge over James Thurston. Thurston tries to lunge, doesn't get much of it. Then going to be River Page, Braxton Whitaker, Alexander Schumacher, Brandon Dugan, and TJ Hanley rounds out in the top 10 with Casey Benz 11th and Chase Schaefer lying back then in 12th. Although I do believe that Chase Schaefer might have got a bit of damage there, so that might be the reason for being a bit further behind. As you'll see, he's still on pit road, so he's going to take a little bit longer on pit road now as they got 1 lap to green to catch up to the iRacing official pace car. It's going to be now Kaloff up top, Vincent Guecci down low, and with the exception now of Michael Deitch and Henry Kaloff, the rest of your field has taken at least 1 pit stop in the first 10 laps. And that's a byproduct of a few cautions to kick off this race. 2 yellow flags in 10 laps, so hopefully cautions no longer breed cautions. Marcus Vanderlee out of this one as a result of the second incident, and now hoping to clean things up as 12 drivers remain on the field. As the iRacing official pace car makes it through turn 3 once again. Right now, Kaloff's going to find out whether or not he can stretch these old tires just a bit longer. He'll be going right up against Vincent Guecci, and points leader coming out of the night is expected to be Sean Conklin. He just can't make a mistake. Hoping not to make anything major happen here as the drivers come through this time by. It's going to be Sean Conklin and Vincent Guecci lined up behind Kaloff. Henry gets the green flag, and we're back on our way for lap number 11. Henry Kaloff gets the jump once again. That time by, going to be able to clear Vincent Guecci, and Sean Conklin with a bit more momentum on the high side might be able to make something happen, but nothing major so far as the drivers will barrel down to Indianapolis. Turn 1 going to be quite clean and quite easy for the most of these guys. Looks like Alexander Schumacher gets mixed up just a bit, but he remains in 7th. As for your leaders right now, you'll see Kaloff and Conklin. They're making things work nicely, and right now Henry's going to drop down to the bottom side, try to break the draft, but Conklin's got speed, and he's here to show it. Sean Conklin on brand new Goodyear rubber, trying to get the heat cycle in. Meanwhile, Kaloff's only gotten a few racing laps through so far, but he is at a disadvantage in regards to having that older set of Goodyear tires. So we'll see whether or not it means all too much right now as River Page goes up top. He'll be helping out Sean Conklin, pushing Conklin deep into Trenton, and just like that, River lays off, but Sean Conklin doesn't quite. And now the Ryko Performance Machine lays in the back bumper of Henry Kaloff. He's got a run coming out of turn 1. Kaloff will block low and still hasn't been able to find a way through. Sean Conklin looks high instead. Conklin's going to try and make it happen. Brushes up with the wall just a bit, nothing major, and luckily everyone keeps it clean. But 12 laps in already and a dozen so far. Now the 63 trying to switch back and forth, defend both lanes, but it's going to be troublesome here. Conklin stays on the back end. Not much else to do with it right now as River Page is also right there in the door. Conklin going to see now that Henry Kaloff's up on the wall, but Conklin gets loose. barely has the power to make it down low, looking for that race lead. Swoops down to the bottom. Now they'll be neck and neck entering turn 1. River Page gets right up there side by side with Henry Caloff, and it's enough to make the move. A new race leader, Sean Conklin, puts himself out in front looking for his 5th win of this season. And Conklin has been the dominant man in regards to victories all season long. At one point held a 50% win rate. If he wins tonight, he'll end up with a minimum of a 33% win rate across the entirety of this season. Goes to show the dominance that Conklin has had on this entire field. Daniel Mosteller just about as well, performing throughout the entirety of this campaign. However, he is not here tonight and taking a drop week, which means it will not negatively affect him in the championship standings directly. And at the end of the final points calculations, he will have the same amount of starts as Sean Conklin. So for Conklin, the goal for tonight is to have the absolute best possible finish, no matter what, because he can gain big time in the point standings by winning or placing inside of the podium. A victory in particular would be major right now as he holds off Caloff and River Page, but River's coming in hot, and all of a sudden now that number 24 machine got momentum as they come through the tunnel turn this time by. River's getting closer and closer, hasn't quite been able to find the perfect opportunity, and now hopes to do so as they'll come through the tunnel turn all over again. He's getting closer while Vincent Guecci slowly but surely fades back, and it's a selective group up in front here, last of which he seems to have that pace. It's James Thurston. Look up top, there goes the number 4. And now he's got power coming down the front straightaway. James Thurston gets in the mix as well. Coming through at the stripe. Conklin's got the lead. River Page still right there with them. And in addition, it's going to be James Thurston and Henry Caloff holding each other off. And they've gotten side by side quite a few times. Not good for their own individual speed, but they've got enough pace right now to hold on and stay in the fight. Sean Conklin going to wiggle once again. Tap the wall ever so slightly. No big deal. He'll keep on moving. And 15 laps in, the progress has been made for the 54 team, getting back up to the front of the field and leading once again, now with River Page right behind. So far, good start for Conklin and company. Up in front of the field, going to be about 4 drivers separating themselves. Then you'll look back and you'll see Vincent Guecci a bit further back. Then there's Braxton Whitaker running in 6th, Michael Deitch in 7th. Now going neck and neck with Brandon Dugan. Few early struggles so far in that number 99 machine. Then you got Alexander Schumacher in 10th, Casey Benson 11th, and TJ Hanley, final driver on the lead lap right now. He'll be running in the 12th spot. There's Sean Conklin leading once again, as you'll see now River Page and James Thurston getting closer. Number 4 machine, we've seen River and Thurston battle before, but right now Thurston on the losing end of that spectrum. Usually Thurston able to have that speed to get away from River Page and what we've seen in other leagues such as the FORL Cup Series. But right now, looks like River has the advantage. And between these two drivers, a total of 1,300 to, well, rather, 1,300 and then some. When it comes to their I rating, multiply that by 10. It's 13,000 I rating between these two drivers. An unbelievable metric goes to show how dominant these two drivers have been on the service for years upon years now. Building up that experience, your top 3 drivers right now in this podium mix-up, they've got an average I rating of over 6,500, and it's an unbelievable amount of talent up in the top 3. This group absolutely knows what it's like to be on the sim, and 2 of which have an A-class rating with a 4.99 safety rating. The absolute top that a driver can go before going into the Pro Series, which means these drivers, some of the best in the business, that simply have not made their abilities seen on the NASCAR level. So this is a top-level fight, and it goes to show how impressive it is that drivers like Henry Caloff or Vince Guecci, who might not be on the sim as much, they can still keep up, and they're still giving a run for their money as the 63 lunges deep near into Milwaukee. There's going to be Caloff making room. James Thurston, he's going to have to lift up just a bit, and as a result, it looks like Caloff had a shot, couldn't quite take it. At the line, 19 laps in out of 80. Next time by, we've moved on to number 18. Sean Conklin still the leader. River Page not too far behind, just 2/10 back, and the leading pack still keeps things moving. Sean Conklin dropping way down low to the bottom side there, gets back, and it looks like that tactic is going to cut the draft and still keep him in the lead, almost like he'd slowed down there. However, not the case once again, going to deceive our eyes, and Sean Conklin going to use every inch of that track, knowing it's all available. Why not make use of it? So Sean Conklin takes things to extremes, and it looks like right now it's working. Conklin's going to lead, River Page is then going to be in second, James Thurston's going to be the third man on the order, and fourth place, there it is, Henry Kaloff in the number 63. Vincent Guecci is going to round out the top 5, but he's slowly but surely fading back, and Braxton Whitaker now going to see some pressure from Chase Schaefer, and as Schaefer is going to dive into Trenton, he will try to make that move, and that he does. Chase Schaefer, knowing he has some top 5 speed, gets right by Braxton Whitaker. That will move him up into 6th, and now he'll try to get back up there with Vincent Guecci, maybe make a few more moves as the night goes on. Alexander Schumacher is now going to be running in the mix with Michael Deitch, Brandon Dugan, and Casey Bent. It's going to be Schumacher up high, and the owner of the SRL Cup Series Racing for only the second time in his IORA career, making another start this season, first of which on an oval. So Schumacher getting accustomed to the way of racing here in IORA. And you'll see now, up on the top side, he's having a great fight with Casey Bentz. Bentz in his 3rd career points-paying start, and now the apron's going to be in use for lead battle. Sean Conklin still has the advantage, but as you can see, James Thurston and River Page are both taking it extreme as well, going way down low. River Page is going to see James Thurston on his quarter panel, and Thurston's going to try to find a new exit out of turn 1. Doesn't quite have it, and just like that, it's going to be River Page leading in frame, but take a look once again. Sean Conklin comes back up, and he is still just a car length ahead. And that's an odd strategy to look at. It's almost as if he goes down and gets loose, but instead Conklin uses a very wide arc to cut off the airflow for River Page, and it works. It might be unorthodox, but he has been giving that number 54 the advantage necessary to maintain the top spot in the running order. We'll take a look at it once again with an overhead camera shot next time by, as you'll see everyone tries to replicate it down the front straightaway. Thurston is going to go closer to the wall. River Page was truly at the wall. It's almost like Sean Conklin is one with the wall, because he gets right up to it every time, no hesitation, and now we're watching from an aerial view what Sean Conklin does throughout his laps. You'll see the 54 this time by is going to actually stay up on the wall as opposed to making that major swoop down low, and this time he's going to let River Page get that speed, get right back up to him, and take it through Indianapolis turn 2 without any major shift up. However, he's going to get very loose this time by, and this time it's no joke, way down to the bottom. They're 3 wide for the lead, and Sean Conklin will give. James Thurston makes it through, and a 3 wide maneuver. Thurston gets the advantage, and just like that, number 4 machine up to the top of the board, with River Page having a big run as well. Now River's gonna find his way to the back bumper of James Thurston, and they are neck and neck once again. This time though, the 4 machines got the overall race lead, and River Page sends him so deep in a Trenton, it's almost as if they're about a half second away in one foul swoop. Henry Kaloff gets contact twice over, and he's going to get some beats and bangs as he comes through turn 1. Now it's going to be River Page back in second. Kaloff rounds out the podium here, and the number 63 faces more pressure from Sean Conklin. Conklin, who knows he has that pace to stay up in front, has lost the track position, and that is detrimental. So now Conklin is going to try to get by Kaloff with force. Looks to have the pace to do so now, and clearly makes it by the number 63. Henry Kaloff gonna have to settle for a position just a few under where he'd like to be. Just like that, trouble is gonna continue to brew up in the front of the field. A bit more aggressive driving up ahead. James Thurston leads the way and chooses to go all the way down to the start-finish line on the apron. Just like that, James Thurston taking the methods of Sean Conklin and improving upon them. Now, he's hoping not to make that very same mistake that cost Conklin all those spots and all that time. First to third might not seem like a major deal, but for Sean Conklin, this could be the race that defines his season. A win tonight, or of course a podium would be also nice. That could lock himself into the championship running as the favorite going into the final 2 races. Tonight is all about making sure for his sake that Daniel Mosteller does not have the edge in points going into the final 2 races of the season. And Demos has been clawing back slowly but surely for the first time all season long, has that advantage in the championship standings, something he's been waiting for all throughout the campaign. And at the very tail end of the season, now Mosteller has a chance. It's going to be a minute disparity between them, and with only a few points to give and Demos with the advantage, not racing tonight is a major risk. However, if Conklin does indeed not finish in the top 3, there would be a major reward because the drop lead system would benefit Mosteller, given the fact that this race would not count for him at all, and this race might not count for Sean Conklin either. So he does not want this to be a drop night because he's already had a few less than expected performances, less than par, shall we say, and you don't want to have any more now that you're fighting the clock in regards to races. Only 2 more nights to get it done from this point onward. The season will end on December 22nd, and as such, you do not want to give up what you got right now. If you're Sean Conklin, he goes down low once again, keeps the speed this time by, and they all go down all the way low to the apron. Henry Caloff comes up neck and neck with Conklin once again. This time by, Henry Caloff has a slight advantage in the turn 1. However, Trenton doesn't fare well on that middle groove because you could see Conklin rubbing right up top, trying to give a little room to Henry Caloff. Does not make it easy. Very close to contact once again. River Page and James Thurston now working with each other too. And just like that, James Thurston up in front once more. 25 laps in out of 80. James Thurston going to be able to take that top spot once more, and the advantage is his. The Miata Gang Designs number 24 machine of River Page not too far behind though. Now as they come through, 25 laps in out of 80, getting closer to the halfway point and getting closer to a green flag pit cycle. Or were we? It looks like it's going to be all in the past now. Brandon Dugan sees the yellow flag fly. Braxton Whitaker involved as well. Caution is out, and we'll no longer see that green flag run this time by. Yellow flag will return to the circuit, and we are back under caution once again. And we'll take an overhead look to find out what happened here with Braxton Whitaker and the number 51. Looks like contact with Dugan. Brandon Dugan turns his teammate in the number 51 right up to the wall. Both drivers sponsored by TJ Hanley. And it looks like the two are going to make some contact as they go into turn 3. Whitaker gets hooked up the track, and he will face the repercussions. Yellow flag is out once again. 3rd time tonight in a total of 26 laps. Braxton Whitaker this time by, involved with the number 55 of Brandon Dugan, and the caution back out on the circuit. So some troubles for Braxton Whitaker. Nothing all too major, however, definitely nothing you want to have happen, especially so early in this race. So the caution is out once again, and here we go. Gonna see some drivers most likely come down a pit road, and we'll see who chooses to go and who chooses not to. 16 lap run on this stint, so it is one of the longest in regards to what we've seen so far. Henry Caloff is still holding on with a 26 lap old run, and so is Michael Deitch. This might play into their favor for the both of them. Would be a big turning point in strategy, so as to have that extra tire set. You might have an advantage if we go to overtime, or of course, if we just go long on a green flag run. Pit road going to be busy this time by, and it looks like this time through it's the entire field coming in. No exceptions. Everyone's down to pit road, and pit road gets busy once again. This time by, led by James Thurston, as the field is set to follow him in at the same time. Thurston's got the advantage entering. Now the question is whether or not he'll have it on the exit. And that exit's going to be a big deal right now for every driver who's coming at the same time. Very little differentiation except for Sean Conklin missing his stall. And Sean Conklin with troubles is going to have to miss that dark horse number 54 pit stall and try to rise through it in any other possible way. But it looks like right now pit road not his forte, with Henry Caloff getting the jump. Caloff race leader. Then going to be Chase Schaefer, River Page, Brandon Dugan, Sean Conklin. Then it's going to be Casey Benz and TJ Hanley. And it looks like James Thurston staying on pit road a bit longer. Comes out in 8th, Quetchy's 9th, and Braxton Whitaker set to come out in 10th. That is how it's going to roll out of pit road. The field gets back on the way. Everyone comes in, and Henry Caloff, the only driver that comes out as the race leader. Caloff back out in front. Just like that, the number 63 on his way to lead yet again. Kaloff's got the advantage, and as they come through this time by 1 lap to green, field is catching right back up to your iRacing official pace car, and we'll be set to get rolling once again. And right now, working on the logistics for the remainder of this race. It might be a shortened event from here on out. 27 laps in out of 80 on our official timing and scoring screen. However, keep in mind that might not be the case. So looking at the official statistics in regards to lap count, drivers are saying they might want it short. So 27 laps in out of 80 might just become 27 out of 60. So this time by, let's get going at about our halfway point. Green flag is out, and we're underway. 28 laps in, and we'll see whether or not the call is to shorten this race. Kaloff knows he wants to keep things going no matter what. He'll lead into turn 1 with Chase Schaefer right below him. And it is official, going to be a 60-lap race, going to be a bit of a sprint to the finish here. 20 extra laps taken off in the Pennsylvania 200, and as such, 50 miles will be removed. So it's going to be a bit of a dash from here on out. 28 laps in, and they're going to start going much more aggressive in every turn, knowing there's less time on the table. It might not sound like a big difference in terms of 20 laps, but you'll see some drivers getting a bit more desperate, others fighting for that track position, knowing that every lap means that much more now, and it's going to be slicing and dicing. There's James Thurston losing some time on the bottom, and River Page takes the race lead right back. So effectively speaking, when they cross the line at the end of lap number 60, this race will be over no matter what, which means effectively speaking, timing and scoring after that point will not be valid. So hopefully every driver will pull it off of the racetrack and conclude the event peacefully, because that might give way to a little bit of an impact on how the results are presented live on the stream. However, it is officially to be shortened down to 60 laps. So at the end of the lap 60, and we move on to lap 61, technically speaking, the race is concluded. That means the official word from IORA's race control, and now we're choosing to do things different here. 29 laps in out of 60. River Page is your race leader, and Henry Kaloff now going to be in second. Hearing these engines roar, coming down to the start-finish line, River Page will lead the way at our halfway marker. It's going to be Henry Kaloff, then in second, and Chase Schaefer, then in third. Drivers are just taking it back, and it looks like now they're saying 80 laps, so going back and forth on the call. We'll see whether or not that's going to be official here. So it looks like once again, the decision has been retracted. The drivers choose not to. Just like that, we'll head back to the 80-lap marker as a result. So we'll go back to assuming that it's going to be the entirety of the distance. The drivers wanted 60 laps, and it looks like they just went back on it. So either way, we'll keep things rolling at the full distance, and it looks like drivers are going to choose not to make the call overall. Going to be River Page going up to the high side, Henry Kaloff working his way down low, and we see Sean Conklin getting in the mix as well. Third place for that number 54. Has himself back in the podium. However, he would need to get a much better result than third to really justify the night. As it's going, it looks to be Conklin now trying to get into the second spot. Henry Kaloff goes way down low. Number 63 machine is going to be down to the bottom side, and now Sean Conklin going to beat and bang just a bit. Conklin going to be up there on the high side, get things rolling, and it's going to be now Henry Kaloff pulling back. He'll be in third, but Vincent Guecci's also looking for a podium spot in himself. It's the 09 machine now down to the bottom side, and Vinny takes a position. Vincent Guecci now going to be there in the third place. Now, one more time, looks like the drivers have decided not to shorten this race mutually. It is instead going to be ran as an 80-lap event from start to finish. Initially, it seemed like drivers would agree to bring the race count lower in terms of laps, but that will not be the case, and it will officially once again return to being a 60-lap event no longer. It's 80 laps from start to finish, so keep that in mind as the remainder of this race goes on. Our halfway marker has been pushed back to lap 40. Our overall race length will be pushed back to the original distance of 80, and a bit of confusion as it looks like drivers decide not to have a 60-lap event. We'll go all the way and keep it 100% at 80 laps, as it's now River Page leading the way away over Sean Conklin. Vincent Guecci going to be right there with James Thurston. Henry Caloff going to be then in 5th. Chase Schaefer is going to be in the 6th spot right now, and it looks like Guecci is going to end up spinning. And for the second time tonight, Vincent Guecci has trouble, comes right back up the track, makes contact with Alexander Schumacher, and the caution is out once again. Yellow flag will fly for Vincent Guecci and Alexander Schumacher, and it looks like Vinny going to have trouble once again. Maybe a bit of help from Chase Schaefer to bring out that caution. Here's an instant replay. Let's find out just what happened. And looking back at Vincent Guecci's second caution he's been involved in, he was involved in the very first on tonight, and it looks like another caution going to catch this number 09 off guard. You'll see going through turn 2, looked to have some trouble and got a bit loose. Then James Thurston was going to be the man who helps him out just a bit, and the 09 machine gets things moving, goes back up the track. Schaefer avoids him. He locks it down at first, then ends up going back and forth once again and ends up nearly fully sideways when Alexander Schumacher ends up hitting him. No place to go for Schumacher. Vincent Guecci ends up now in the 12th position, last man on the lead lap. So Vinny's going to see trouble once more. Luckily, he does have that faster pair in his back pocket, so he'll be able to use it right now, as he did not need it in the first caution. So yellow flag is out once again for Vincent Guecci, Alexander Schumacher, and your race leader is River Page. A bit of back and forth on the lap count, but it will be settled. This race will go 80 complete laps. So stick with us here live on FTN as you're watching the Pennsylvania 200 exclusively on the Fireball Talks NASCAR YouTube channel. I'm your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. And if you enjoyed tonight's action, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Page right now with Conklin and Thurston. They're up on the podium once again. And now, pit road going to get busy once more. Taking him back into pit road, Sean Conklin comes in with Thurston, Caloff, and the rest of the field. River Page and Brandon Dugan, they opt to come into pit road at a later date. They won't be coming in now, and it looks like the rest of the field opts to come in without them. Just like that, pit road gets busy. River Page and Brandon Dugan get away from the mess, and it looks like Alexander Schumacher chooses to as well. Schumacher on a bit of a different strategy. He'll get track position, and now he'll have the minor advantage here as drivers are set to roll off pit road at any second. You'll see now advantage out of pit road will go to Sean Conklin. Then it'll be James Thurston, Chase Schaefer, Michael Deitch, TJ Hanley, Henry Caloff, and Braxton Whitaker to round out in the top 10. Vincent Guecci also going to be on the track right now, and it looks like the only driver on pit road is Casey Bentz, position number 12. So just like that, 34 laps in out of 80, we'll get back at it with Brandon Dugan right behind your race leader in River Page. River's got the edge, and he'll lead him this time by. He chooses high. Alexander Schumacher goes low, and it looks like instead, Page drops down to the bottom. So some final choice being made. Final decisions to finalize for the field. It's going to be River Page, Brandon Dugan right behind him, and then Sean Conklin up top. Alexander Schumacher drops back to 5th on this cycle as it looks like his pit road, of course, advantage does not give way to a choose rule edge. He'll go into the middle of the field, try to learn a bit more about how it's like to be up at the top of the charts. River Page, Sean Conklin up in front, first and second respectively, set to get things going once again. Page right now finds himself the leader of the field. Conklin came into pit road quick, won the race off pit road, and there's fresh tires, 7 laps newer than River Page, as it looks like now it's a brand new set versus 7 laps of wear. Green flag is out, they'll be nearly 3 wide of the stripe. Thurston gets a good jump, but River Page still leads the field. And now River Page is going to have that advantage to go through turn 1 all over again at a Trenton. Page is the leader. Conklin's going to look to the bottom side, and already some pressure going to be rising here in the field as now the Ryko number 54 looks to the low side to try to get that race lead. James Thurston also going to be in the mix as well. They're neck and neck for only a brief moment though, as now River Page is going to see Thurston getting closer, and now Conklin maybe even getting further ahead, which is by no means a good thing unless he gets down low, which is exactly what he'll do. River Page now down to the bottom side of the track, finds himself as the race leader after making a risky move, gets that top spot, and all over again, the number 24 has the race lead. Take a look to the outside there. Sean Conklin still trying to make something happen, and he's going to back off big time here, and you'll see instead the decision will be to go down low, and Conklin takes it there. Not enough momentum. Maybe it will be enough through turn 2. Indianapolis, it'll be another change for the race lead if Conklin decides to lunge, which it looks like he might not. So Sean Conklin going to lay off that time by, and River Page, look at our 360 camera, has the race lead, only to see James Thurston barrel by on the high side. Thurston's got the top spot now, with the number 4 machine will take that race lead, and it's going to be River Page and Sean Conklin still fighting each other for a second. A bit of a distraction between those two drivers, and now Thurston got the race lead. Almost every driver hits the wall coming out of turn 3 that time by, and Thurston, one of which, still has the edge, and Page is going to be turned. River Page goes 360 spinning, comes back up the track, and it looks like the yellow flag is out. Once again, River Page sees trouble, and the caution will fly. Page has the yellow flag thrown for the 5th time tonight, and the caution flies now after contact with Sean Conklin. Big incident at the front of the field. Looks like no major damage for River. Let's take a look back and find out here as Conklin gets up to his back bumper, looks low. River Page tries to look a bit lower, and they keep going further and further down till there's about no room to give, and that's when Sean Conklin lays off and looks to come back up much faster and takes River Page for a ride. He's going to spin once, looks to have locked it down by this point, but then tries to put the power down perhaps, and you'll see comes right back up. And just a kiss on the wall. Nothing all too major. Still going to be detrimental, though, as Page loses all that time and track position. He's had the advantage most of the race. Not any longer. 38 laps in out of 80. Just like that, it's going to be River Page dropping to the rear of the field, with James Thurston now catching right back up to the iRacing official pace car. And with a yellow flag out once again, 38 laps in out of 80, we're now coming to the official halfway point. Drivers deciding the race will go indeed 80 laps as opposed to a proposed shortened run of 60 complete laps. If you're watching live on FTN right now, you've just tuned in to the halfway point of tonight's event, the Pennsylvania 200. Be sure to stick around because it's only going to get more exciting from here. Thurston, Conklin, and Page, respectively, your top 3 right now. So it looks like River Page is going to be giving back those spots, unless he's not too happy with Sean Conklin here, which he might not be, as you'll see they'll get close to each other. Now swerving back and forth. Michael Deitch almost intervenes, and it looks like now River goes further back. Not happy at all, and he's giving a few messages in the chat room, which indicate as such. So River gets right up to Conklin, gives him a word, and gets right back in line. River Page, 38 laps in, certainly frustrated, and he'll like to have his revenge on the track. Best possible revenge, though, it's success. So we'll see whether or not he has the success in getting back up to the podium. Because now, Page sees some troubles and might not have time to rebound here as the field heads down to pit road. Once again, Schumacher going to lead in TJ Hanley, Casey Bentz, River Page. It's going to be James Thurston, the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport number 4, leading the way. This time through, yellow flag is out with 1 lap till the green flag, and we'll be restarting exactly at lap 40. At the halfway marker is going to see now 12 drivers on the lead lap going back to Casey Bentz. Casey is still racing. However, as it stands, the driver, the number 36, gets back going in the 10th spot. Alexander Schumacher now going to hold 12th. River Page might just be the driver who ends up having the spot overall. Schumacher beats Page out of pit road, and now River's going to find himself at the back of the field. Meanwhile, the number 4 of James Thurston is at the front. And Thurston, who had speed to kick off the night, leading the opening set of laps, back out in front all over again. He's gotten through, for the most part, our opening 40 laps. What's it going to take through the final 40 to get it done? That is the question now. We have seen largely caution-controlled strategy, so nothing all too major in regards to how strategy has shifted. Been a very controlled environment for most drivers. And the only big changes is whether or not you pit on one caution as opposed to the next. So don't expect to see anything all too different in terms of how strategy plays out tonight. In terms of cautions, I think that's the determining factor. In terms of tire strategy, don't expect to see anything natural with only 40 laps to go. And as they come through this time by, the field is getting ready to rumble once again. Crowd here, the virtual grandstands of the Pocono Raceway, packed with fans, and they're ready to see another exciting run, this time by James Thurston, your defending IORA Cup Series champion, leads the way. He's got Sean Conklin right by his side, and they're set to get back to the green flag this time through. Here we go again. Thurston, Conklin, side by side, and the green flag will fly, led this time through by James Thurston. Conklin gets a very nice jump through Trenton, and you'll see already having that race lead. Gets after a nice jump. Vincent Gretchen going to follow, and he's going to go all the way down to the apron and try to use that draft braking mechanism, and it works for now. Take a look on the back bumper of Sean Conklin and see how he makes it work, getting through this lap and hoping to lead at the halfway points. Sean Conklin now going to see James Thurston go way up high. He'll sacrifice his entry into the corner to get a much better exit. But it looks like right now Thurston's draft is not strong enough to justify the move. Conklin's got the edge. Thurston's still right there. He's in the tow, but not enough to lunge into Trenton unless he really sends it deep. So through turn one, Thurston's going to be calm and collected. Stays on the back bumper and stays in the wake of Sean Conklin. Doesn't try anything wild right now, knowing that one foul swoop could lead to a big wreck, and that we have it. Yellow flag is out for the big one here in Pocono. Chase Schaefer, Casey Bentz, Michael Deitch all involved once again, and the yellow flag is out all over again here in Pocono, as it looks like it's going to be multiple drivers once again making contact. Here's an instant replay on the matter to find out what just happened. Schaefer goes down low, and that might have been the catalyst for this incident. And looking now at slow motion, Chase Schaefer side by side with Michael Deitch. Deitch goes way up top, gets in the wall, comes back down to Schaefer. Then Schaefer hits Page. Page will once again hit Michael Deitch, and Brandon Dugan gets a piece as well. And now it looks like it's going to be Dugan nearly getting hit once again. Michael Deitch goes around spinning. So does Chase Schaefer. Multi-car incident, and luckily damage for the most part was avoided by all drivers in the field. However, still going to be a tough scenario as the yellow flag flies immediately after we hit our halfway point, and we are back once again under caution here in the Pocono Raceway. Caution flies once again here with Chase Schaefer now trying to get back up to the field. It is Sean Conklin leading, James Thurston second, and Vincent Guecci then in third. 42 laps in out of 80, and despite the fact our field size not as high as most other weeks this season, we've seen our fair share of yellow flags to this point. As it stands, your official race summary goes as follows. Total of now 6 cautions to this point, 11 caution laps, and 8 lead changes with 39 laps still remaining. So for the most part, we've got a lot of excitement ahead to find out who's going to win this race and who's got a shot to take home maybe the championship lead. If Sean Conklin can get a good night out of this one, he might be able to find himself at the top of the board by a substantial margin. However, that is not a guarantee just yet, and a lot is up in the air. 42 laps in out of 80. That's your official race summary to this point, and we'll keep on going here, hopefully setting to get back at it with just about 1 lap to green from this point onward. Now it's going to be Sean Conklin coming in with James Thurston. In addition, you're also going to see right there, it's going to be James Thurston with Braxton Whitaker, Vincent Guecci, River Page, TJ Hanley, Casey Bentz, and Chase Schaefer, not to mention Michael Deitch as well, with Brandon Dugan remaining on the track. Like that, pit road going to get busy once again. It's going to be now Conklin missing his stall once more, backs up once again, and he's going to lose time. It looks like that number 54 struggling to make it into pit road. Michael Deitch is going to disconnect from this event, and you'll see now no view of the Deitch machine as he's going to be off the circuit. It's Henry Kaloff leading, James Thurston with a win off of pit road, and from there on out, Hanley is going to be in 6th. Sean Conklin scored 7th, Casey Pence 8th, and Chase Schaefer then in 9th. 43 laps in out of 80. Field is set to get back at it once more. 11 drivers on the lead lap this time by, and we have seen some tight racing, aggression and adrenaline up to 100 so far here in the Pocono Raceway. One big track to another. Talladega was a very exciting one as well, but honestly didn't have quite as many yellow flags breaking up the action until very late in the night. However, for Henry Kaloff, who leads once again, he's dealt with these troubles for the most of this event and now leads once more. 43 laps of 80. Past halfway, still quite a lot of time to go. We'll see whether or not Kaloff has it for the field now. He's got Alexander Schumacher on his inside. He's got Brandon Dugan and Braxton Whitaker behind him, so he might have a bit of a buffer here before a guy like James Thurston comes in quick. The ace on the old tires tries to make something work on the top side. It's Henry Kaloff leading as the iRacing official pace car will come in this time by dropping down and in. Here we go again. Restart number 6. It's going to be Henry Kaloff in full control, rolling back and forth through the gears. Green flags out, and we are underway from Pocono. And just like that, it's going to be Henry Kaloff once again out in front. Green flag going to fly again, and Kaloff's going to lead. Braxton Whitaker is going to be in 2nd. James Thurston is going to be then in 3rd. Top side driving through Indianapolis. Number 4 machine's got that high side yet again, and you'll see it's going to be Conklin getting his line compromised with a big wiggle down low. That's Chase Schaefer once again in trouble. He's down and low on his own, and this time by, I don't think Chase Schaefer's got enough in him to get back going. It looks like now that number 99 has damage and does not have the ability to get back up with the field. He's already used his faster pair, and that might be the night for Chase Schaefer as the Monster Designs machine makes it through another lap. However, he's got major damage to keep an eye out for as Henry Kaloff leads the way and James Thurston is in 2nd. Then you'll see River Page and Sean Conklin fighting side by side again. Big time now. It's going to be the driver, the number 51 of Braxton Whitaker. Now we're riding on board with Braxton as he sees the battle just ahead, and the fight for 3rd rages on as Thurston now has an advantage in 2nd. Sean Conklin tries to make something happen there in 4th. Now you'll see down to the bottom side, Sean Conklin opting to go all the way low through Milwaukee, River Page, and James Thurston. He'll try something different, and they've done it quite a few times before, using that high side as an advantage with momentum, which carries River Page far enough ahead of Sean Conklin not to worry, at least for the next turn. TJ Hanley going to be nosed up into the wall by himself, so TJ has troubles too, and it looks like another driver finding himself isolated in the back of the field. There's Chase Schaefer running on his own, and as it stands, Chase finds himself in the 10th position. TJ Hanley going to take that spot as now Schaefer gets back in the single digits. You'll see James Thurston there with Henry Kaloff. River Page going to be with Sean Conklin, so bundles of 2 drivers apiece, and we've seen this bundle before, a familiar pair. Henry Kaloff with the advantage right now over James Thurston, and as these 2 drivers have battled before, they're set to do so once again. Going down to the bottom side for Henry Kaloff, he's still working the low groove, whereas James Thurston opts to run right up high, and he'll come down and in right now on Kaloff and try to take all that draft. And this is the big advantage Kaloff can use when it comes to having that advantage in track position and clean air. Trying to swerve back and forth to lose the draft of James Thurston. And even though Thurston went for it full on and might have lost a lot of speed turning back and forth, he's gotten substantially closer and is now coming in this time through 2 turns to go through it. It's going to be the second of which with Thurston right on the back bumper of this number 63. Right now, it's going to be the number 63 of Kaloff going right up top. James Thurston has the swoop down low. He'll go up top once again, and you're going to see the big surge in momentum right now for this number 4, as he's going to have that speed coming down the front stretch that Kaloff simply cannot compare himself to. 169 as they go right by the stripe, whereas James Thurston was at 172, 3 miles an hour in advantage, and now he's up to 190 before Henry Kaloff even hits 188. That's what's necessary, and James Thurston uses that advantage, and it looks like the top side will pay off. Just like that, Thurston neck and neck with Kaloff here. Henry's got the race lead once again with some momentum, just a bit to get right through. It's going to be now Henry Kaloff taking it through Indianapolis all over again. Nice run off Trenton. But I think that James Thurston has sent his message, and right now he's got himself right where he needs to be. 48 laps in out of 50, absolutely taking his time, understanding this does not have to be a quick transfer of position, working through up to the top side. Thurston goes all over again, and he makes his own room as they come through this time by at the line. Green flag is still going to be waving, and it looks like Thurston just got it through for another lap led, and James Thurston gets himself back up in front. Kaloff giving a good fight here with those old tires. However, 15 laps of age compared to 6, it is a major difference, especially given the fact we have not seen all too many green flag laps run in succession tonight. And now, while this leading group is breaking away, you're seeing a difference in racing attitude compared to the guys who are up in front as opposed to those in the back. It's still dicey further on back, don't get me wrong here, but the big question is whether or not they'll be able to hold it together consistently. Schumacher's had some internet troubles, and he is right now fighting for the 7th position with Casey Bentz. Bentz is still going to have that spot on the top side, while Schumacher consistently comes in and out on our screen, so that might be an internet issue from that number 68. Looks like nobody else having consistent trouble like Schumacher here. Brandon Dugan might be, as we say that, but overall, Alexander Schumacher coming in and out for the majority of this race. 50 laps in, James Thurston has the lead. It's going to be Henry Kaloff now second, and third place is River Page. But not to be outdone, there is Sean Conklin still fighting for a podium. He wants that top 3, knowing how big a result it will be in terms of the standings at the end of season. You don't want to give away this night and have it go into effectively the garbage can. There are a total of 2 drop weeks allowed for every driver in the field. In this IORA Cup Series, drivers can use those drop weeks to their advantage to sort of negate bad nights of racing or no nights of racing. If you miss a race, you can have that drop week to sort of assist you in getting back on the way, and that's what Daniel Mosteller is choosing to do, to keep on fighting with Sean Conklin for the championship. 51 laps out of 80, only 30 laps will remain this time by. It's Thurston leading at the point, and Henry Kaloff then in second, now just about half a second back. And it looks like slowly but surely losing more and more time. Henry Kaloff continues to drop back in to the second spot on his own. Henry Kaloff is going to see, though, that Sean Conklin is coming through, and River Page there as well. And slowly but surely, all these laps of wasting the tire in terms of its use, that wear, it'll get to you. And 17 laps of wear, the most of any driver in the field, save for Braxton Whitaker. And Whitaker right now runs in 6th, whereas Henry Kaloff runs in 2nd. So it's a big difference in position, maybe not as much in terms of tire age, but tire wear when you're pushing up in front is a major determining factor in how long you can last in the thick of the battle. So far, so good for Henry Kaloff in second, holding off Sean Conklin, but that is due to change here as we ride on board with the number 63, and you're seeing how close Sean Conklin is getting. I think this time by, he's got the shot to make it down low, and the Ryco Performance number 54 has got the run, has the draft, and is now looking closer and closer to making a move. Not going to lunge it through Indianapolis. Instead, actually, he's going to lay off just a bit and instead let Henry Kaloff do a bit more of the heavy work for him. And instead of making that lunge in aggressively through Indianapolis or even Milwaukee, it looks like now Conklin's going to let it simmer for just a bit longer and stay on the back bumper as long as possible. So now, Sean Conklin playing a real strategic game, not wasting his equipment and trying to let it happen here. As you'll see, the 54 goes right up high, and Kaloff has nothing else he can do but hold on to his spot and hope that through Trenton he'll have the advantage. And right now it looks like Kaloff does have the opportunity to stay down low, but he'll back off and nothing more can be done. Sean Conklin gets that second place, and just like that, takes another spot away and is back in the fight for the race win with James Thurston just a spot ahead. And now James Thurston's going to have the number 54 Sean Conklin on the same set of tire right behind. It's going to be the top two drivers in Thurston and Conklin. 1-2 with a quarter of a second in between, still holding on well. Now it's going to be Conklin going down to the bottom side. He's looking for the race lead, and James Thurston hopes to go right up top. And it could be the momentum for Thurston that really plays to his favor, but Conklin's looking around, trying to find the advantage. And drivers go through this time by, it's going to be Sean Conklin still about 1.5 of a second off each and every time around. Bence is going to be now side by side with Braxton Whitaker, looking further into the back of the field. These drivers are still fighting for every position, and for Casey Bence, not at all a bad night for Alexander Schumacher. Maybe he's got the pace to claw back into Brandon Dugan. Dugan is on his own. He's got a second pack behind. He's got the lead pack right in front, and right now that's the way they roll. 54 laps in out of 80. Dugan is the middle ground. He's the man in the middle of all the drivers in this field, and he's kept himself that way for the good majority of the night. Running his own race, been mostly inconspicuous. Not much of a threat to run up in front, but not much a threat to wreck. So right now for Brandon Dugan, running a calm race in the middle of the field, whereas the drivers who lead the way are still pushing every lap 110%. There is Sean Conklin up in front now, new race leader, as James Thurston has to give way. Looks like that number 4 machine is going to try to dive through Trenton, maybe get something out of it, but that's the difference between a driver who's got it made and one who doesn't. If you have that race lead, you got the confidence, but it is much harder to fight to get the lead back when you've already lost it. And right now for Thurston, he's about a quarter of a second back, which is not a substantial loss. However, at the same time, the more and more time you lose, the more it compounds and the harder it becomes to get right back up there. And right now when it comes to position, even though he's second, James Thurston is losing time. That time by, he ran a 54.4 as opposed to a 53.918. You'll see there, James Thurston's going to pull the trigger and come down to pit road. 12-lap run for him, but he's going to place the bet that we're going to go the rest of 25 laps under green. So Thurston makes it in. He's the first man to make the call to go right down low, and James Thurston, on his way through, has himself in the 8th position as he'll cycle into pit road for the first time under green, and potentially the last time tonight. Sean Conklin leads the way at a speed of 183 miles an hour, barrels through turn 1, now tunnels through turn 2, and as he comes out of Indianapolis, still one turn remaining. It's going to be the dark horse number 54 up in front, and by all means the Ryco Performance Ford Mustang has had the speed all season long, and tonight is a big deal, more so than almost any other race in the season, because now with Daniel Mosteller absent for the very first time this season in terms of the drop weeks, he's got to keep in mind that a win could be make or break. Conklin and Mosteller have been largely even all throughout the season. Chase Schaefer retires from the event, so he will be also out of this one. It comes down to whether or not drivers are consistent with attendance and not giving up. Daniel Mosteller has ran, of course, the majority of the season. His worst finish was in the mid-20s. However, for Sean Conklin, he's benefited from some lower car counts and his worst finish in the low teens. So baby Conklin having it all balanced out together nicely to stay in the fight. However, I think now it all comes down to attendance, because Talladega saw the championship battle swaying in the favor of Daniel Mosteller for the first time all season long. From Daytona onward, it was Demos who was actually the man chasing, whereas Sean Conklin, who especially went on that early winning tear, 4 wins in 7 races, that's really what set this kid apart from the rest of the field. And that difference in terms of ability early on really made it possible for Sean Conklin to stand out as a championship contender all throughout the season. And with 23 laps remaining, he's going to have to pull the trigger on one more pit stop tonight. We're not quite sure when that pit stop is going to occur. We're not quite sure whether or not it's going to be a long pit stop or if he's going to try to beat James Thurston's time. But we do know one thing for certain. If we progress any further throughout this race, it's no doubt we will see at least one more pit stop for every driver in the the field, save for the number 4 of James Thurston. 58 laps in out of 80, coming down what will be 22 laps to go. This time by Sean Conklin has the advantage, and we'd like to thank our camera providers at TrackCams22.com, our #1 source of cameras here live on FTN. Check out TrackCams22.com after tonight's broadcast, as we are set to crank it up live and uninterrupted on FTN with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And returning with 17 laps to go, the final stretch is ahead of us, and now pit cycles are fully underway. You'll see now that Casey Bentz finds himself as the race leader of this event, and now the 36 machine putting up his first laps ahead of the field in his IORA Cup Series career. Right now, going to be leading the way now. It's going to be 16 laps to go for Bentz to navigate. However, he does have to make a pit stop. And right now, in regard to those who have come down to pit road, James Thurston has a substantial 4-second advantage over Sean Conklin, and we'll see whether or not the old tires give way to Conklin resurging as a figure up at the front of the field. Doesn't look to be anything major indicating that will be the case, which would mean that James Thurston truly has the advantage from this point onward. TJ Hanley's going to be running in second, but that is also due to change. As you can see, James Thurston making up time and making it up very quick. As a matter of fact, maybe the quickest of any driver right now, as it looks like now second place more than realistic. Matter of fact, Hanley going much slower, just about a second a lap slower each and every time around. And with Thurston on the back bumper, that might even become a much slower rate. Hanley facing the pressure, and now that 08 machine seeing the number 4 in the rearview mirror. He's going to go down to the bottom side, letting Thurston have that top groove. And as they come through this time by, Hanley not giving up, but definitely giving way to Thurston to the top, as James Thurston knows better than anyone how to run that higher groove through Milwaukee. And just like that, it's going to be James Thurston up to second, and he makes it by TJ Hanley with ease here, and maybe through Trenton TJ has something for him, but that's unlikely here. As you'll see now, James Thurston is up to second and just has to get to Casey Bentz. Bentz, though, is expected to make a pit stop. He's gone 23 laps consecutively under this set of tire, so the Goodyear rubber might be aching by this point. Really not much else it can do going for this long on one set of tire. Of course, admirable to put the effort in, but Casey Bentz has gotten that lap led bonus. I don't think there's anything else in sight right now unless there's an outside chance at the win. Ahead of the field right now by 14 laps, of course 19 seconds with 14 laps, and as a matter of fact, if he was able to hold on to the pace he's currently going, he would win this race quite clearly. As a matter of fact, I think he'd have about 4 or 5 seconds of buffer, losing 1 second a lap with 14 laps to go and 19 seconds to spare would be about a 5-second lead at the end of this race. But it is a pit stop that is mandatory for Casey Bentz, so even though he's got the advantage right now, it is not set to last. And he'll cycle out big time and should cycle out within the confines of the top 5. If not, he'll be further back with Henry Kaloff and Alexander Schumacher. 14 to go, though, and Casey Bentz has still not decided when to come down to pit road. As he comes across the line this time through, it will not be from under the pit road entry. It's going to be instead at the line just by the grandstands, packed with virtual fans. No major battles right now, as a matter of fact. James Thurston is going to find himself in second, and the only battle he'll be facing is whether or not he can hold on to where Sean Conklin is. Right now, Conklin finds himself, give or take, 3.5 seconds back on this number 4. So it's an advantage, however, it is slowly but surely shrinking. And I think that for Sean Conklin's sake, he just has to keep going all throughout these laps. 13 to go. Just keep hitting his marks. It's all about individual success from this point onward. You should worry less about the driver who's ahead of you and instead worry more about how to get things done properly for your sake. It's now going to be all about making those marks consistent, hitting them properly, and of course, getting by TJ Hanley is one thing. Getting by TJ, of course, and Casey Bentz is another. But James Thurston, who's been a competitive force all throughout this race, maybe the only driver quicker than Sean Conklin at times, that is a different story. If you can't make it by Thurston, of course, really can't win this race, because right now Hanley and Bentz alike are set to come down to pit road regardless of what happens. Casey Bentz has himself at lap 69 already with a very nice 16-second lead, and while he would be at the pace to win this one no matter what, does not look like it's going to pan out, as a pit stop is still required. So Casey's going to keep on going here and try to go as long as possible, maybe waiting for a caution if anything, but I don't think he's going to see one unless he ends up the cause himself. Conklin's now within 1/10 of a second of TJ Hanley. See how quick he makes work of this 08 machine. Conklin's going to go through Indianapolis, let TJ Hanley do the hard work once again. Similar to his Henry Kaloff pass, let TJ slide up the track, let him get intimidated, and the dark horse makes it by once again. There we go for Sean Conklin, and it looks like now the number 54 team is making big moves and making them more often. 11 laps to go as they come through this time by. And the field set to find out what it's going to take to chase down James Thurston. Thurston now has a 2.5 second advantage over Sean Conklin. And now it's Sean Conklin getting closer and closer to Thurston. The question becomes, how can this number 4 machine defend from the attack that is getting closer and closer and closer? 11 laps to go, 27 tenths of a second to spare. So we do the math very quickly. He'd have to keep himself within about 2 tenths of a second of the pace of Sean Conklin for a mathematical chance to win at that rate. However, as it stands, losing more like 3 tenths of a second each and every time around, which would not be sustainable until the very end of this event. 14 laps of age on James Thurston's tires as opposed to Sean Conklin. Conklin finds himself now at 7 laps of age. Even though that tire wear is slowly starting to add up on Conklin's end, it's going to end up becoming more and more on Thurston's, because the more laps you put down on an older tire, the harder it becomes to continue to control, the harder it becomes to keep that grip, and with less grip, much less control. There on out, really not much else you can do but hope to survive. Of course, right now, Brandon Dugan, who actually would find himself in the 5th position, is set for what could be another podium finish. Dugan finds himself now on pace ahead of River Page and might be able to get by TJ Hanley as well before he is set to come down to pit road. Casey Benson, in addition, is set to cycle back. So with all things being said, it could be Brandon Dugan in his 2nd career podium finish if all goes well for him tonight. He still has to stay ahead of River Page, which is no small feat, and Page that time by was about a tenth of a second quicker. With 9 laps to go, that would not be enough. So for Dugan, the end goal, don't make mistakes. And that's, of course, easier said than done, but right now he's about a tenth of a second slower every time around, and that might be enough to hold off River Page if he can easily get by TJ Hanley, which it looks like he will. The boss man, TJ Hanley, lets his driver go right by, and the number 55, sponsored by TH Designs, makes another pass, gets up in a 4th, and now Sean Conklin, a 2.5 away from James Thurston, keeps the pressure on and continues to get closer and closer and closer again. 9 laps remaining, this time by for James Thurston, who effectively finds himself as the leader. Casey Bentz on timing and scoring has that advantage, but the question is still whether or not Bentz can hold on. Casey right now with 12 seconds of a lead is still racing up in front, and it looks like, if anything, it could be Casey Bentz with an unpredictable race win, but we're still not counting on it. That's a 30-lap run on an 80% fuel limit. 30 laps of running is about the longest we're expecting to see. Now it's all about whether or not Casey Bentz can push limits perhaps and maybe go further. However, that's unlikely now. At 8 to go, coming through turn 3 into Milwaukee. And we will see whether or not Casey Bentz makes the call. Has that big decision ahead of him, but he still has not acted upon it. It's Casey Bentz coming through this time by, and it looks like it will be the final pit stop for the number 36. Bentz down and in, makes it down to pit road, and TJ Hanley going to be right up next now as he comes side by side with River Page. Bentz is going to come through. This will give the race lead, at least for now, to James Thurston. For TJ Hanley, not much more else in the tank, but he'll stay out for one more lap, hoping to fight another day. Maybe it'll be another chance for Bentz and for TJ Hanley in the future, but now cycling back, it's going to be Casey Bentz dropping back to activate at least the 7th place. If not, he'll be in 8th, and now Sean Conklin and James Thurston once again are on their own. A plateau between the two has been reached in terms of pace and performance all night long, and now it's time to find out who has what it takes to make it or break it. This is the final stretch, no matter what. 7 laps to go, and I think from here on out, you gotta wonder, what can Sean Conklin do to put on the pressure and go all out on the attack? Maybe James Thurston's been saving up a bit of his tire, understanding he has a disadvantage. Maybe Sean Conklin has pushed a little harder, understanding how far behind he was, but it looks like it's now all coming to an equal, and it's gonna be all about who's got it. Dead even. It's gonna be one-on-one, head-to-head fighting until the very end. 6 laps to go here in Pocono, and it's going to be Conklin now coming on the back bumper of James Thurston. Lunging through the corners every time. Sean Conklin trying to find that advantage. 75 laps in, and you think, of course, he knows every secret, but when it comes to racing and adapting line after line, it's even more important here in iRacing, thanks to the new oval track model. And now it's going to be Conklin lunging down to the bottom side, taking that race lead. He's down low, but Thurston will have momentum up top. And now trying to get that momentum down the front straightaway. Conklin leads once again with 5 laps to go. Now James Thurston will try to look for an entry into Trenton that will give him the advantage as they'll go neck and neck into turn 1. Thurston knows it's do or die now. He'll go down and in and take the race lead once again and tries to block the bottom. He will park his car on the low side, and Conklin comes right back up. Here they go again as they go through turn 2. Indianapolis, the advantage looks to be with Sean Conklin. If he can stay on the quarter panel here, he'll ride it all the way through the corner, and that he does. Now down to the inside, Conklin takes our lead once again, wiggles just a bit, but keeps himself steady. Now James Thurston's going to have to see if he's got a rebuttal left in store. He'll go up top, and it looks like all he's got left is using that momentum as a freight train to get back up on top. 5 laps remaining this time by, and hoping the trick is not already worn out, it's going to be Thurston trying to stay back there with Sean Conklin, getting that run. All that momentum might not be enough now, though, as Conklin's going to have about a 0.2 of a second lead, and that might be all she wrote for James Thurston, unless he can get some speed out of turn 2. It looks like now Conklin's got the opportunity to run away for what could be win number 5. A make-or-break night in the IORA Cup Series championship race. Conklin knowing that to maximize the opportunity, a win tonight would be a huge, huge deal. So how about this, having 5 wins at the minimum on a season of only 15 races? Conklin now gets back into gear, and it looks like the competitive Sean Conklin we've seen all season long is finally executing once again. Coming up on the right this time by 3 laps to go for Sean Conklin as he leads once again and now begins to leave James Thurston in the dust. In terms of other battles, now Brandon Dugan will face off with River Page. 3 laps to go between the both of them, and even though they're not up there fighting for the race win, not all hope is lost in terms of going for a podium, and the two of which are now spread apart by only 1/10 of a second. It looks like Brandon Dugan has slowly but surely started to equalize his pace again to River Page, but too many mistakes in that middle groove got him back all out of sorts. Now River Page is going to go up high, try to look for an opportunity. Up to the top side he'll go. Brandon Dugan will block him through Indianapolis and keep that 3rd spot for now. The final spot for the podium, it is on the line. River looks up top once again and still refuses to go down low. Dugan blocking on the bottom, that's all he has. And it looks like now, as he comes right up top to once again hold River Page at bay, River gets in the wall, and that might be it in terms of the battle for 3rd. Maybe River Page has enough damage where he can't keep up, but we'll see here because he looks to have a bit more finesse through the corners, and that's a major advantage in itself. Sean Conklin, though, he leads the way by now 7/10 of a second. We'll keep you up to date with our race lead as it looks like the battle is no more. Thurston close, but not nearly close enough. It's now going to be Brandon Dugan and Sean Conklin 1st and 3rd. James Thurston in between. It's going to be a Chevy in the 3rd spot. 2 blue ovals up ahead, and a bit of a Ford sandwich between Thurston and River Page here, because the only bow tie in the top 3 is still being pressured big as they'll come across the stripe this time by and make it 1 more lap. The final lap of competition here from the Pocono Raceway. Last lap in the Pennsylvania Pennsylvania 200, Sean Conklin leads the way in a pivotal night for the championship battle. Knowing the circumstances, Daniel Mosteller not racing, a win tonight could be make or break, do or die. The white flag flies for a dominant Sean Conklin, and for the man who won 4 races of our opening 7, we knew Sean Conklin still had it in him to go for a race win and keep it aggressive all throughout. He barreled through James Thurston, got the strategy right, has the younger tires to finish it all off, and as he comes through Milwaukee one final time, the tricky triangle is no trick to Sean Conklin, as the Ryko Performance 54 will make it down the front straightaway with only 2 races left after this one. The championship favored will come down to the start-finish line and win for the 5th time this season. Sean Conklin is your winner for the Pocono Raceway. Checkered flag is Conklin's, and the number 54 is back on top. Thurston second, and River Page by 21 thousandths of a second gets back to third. Sean Conklin will get it done tonight from the virtual Pocono Raceway, and we'll take a look at your results. Not all too many drivers to speak of here, so we'll run through it quick. Sean Conklin will win from James Thurston in second, River Page 9 seconds back in third, barely getting it done over Brandon Dugan, then in fourth. Henry Kaloff going to find himself then in fifth, and it's going to be Alexander Schumacher in the 6th spot, and after leading some laps late, Casey Bent holds on for 7th place. Final driver in the lead lap is then going to be TJ Hanley with Braxton Whitaker 9th and Vincent Guecci 10th. 11th place is going to be Chase Schaefer. Michael Deitch will be 12th, and Marcus Vanderlee 13th and last on the order to finish things off tonight as Conklin comes through and has gotten it done once again. 5th win of the season. His championship rival did not race tonight, and that might be the make or break moment as Sean Conklin burns it down from the Pocono Raceway. And for Sean Conklin and the number 54, the celebration on track has concluded, but tonight might be the pivotal moment that changes the entirety of the season. For Conklin, this victory might mean the most of all of which this season, and the campaign for a championship continues here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. The 54 will get it done again. How's about we speak to your race winner first? Once again, Sean Conklin, you find victory lane, been the longest drought you've had all season long, but you bring it back when it matters the most. 27 laps led, you come through, find yourself starting and finishing the exact same spot. Conklin, you get it done here from Pocono. How do you feel after this win?
I feel pretty good. Feels good to be back in victory lane. It took us a while. We should have had that win at Road America, and then we just screwed up in the pits. And I was worried we would do the same thing here, but we actually we pulled it off right and tracked down Thurston last couple laps and were able to get to win. That was a good race between me and him, and the racing was pretty fun throughout the race. Honestly, it went by pretty quickly. I thought this race was going to take forever, but it didn't really take that long. I mean, it took a long time. It took 2 hours, but it didn't feel like it took 2 hours. So, fun race, and glad to put it back at Victory Lane. Back where we started, we were in Victory Lane. What was it? What was it, 2 years ago, or was it a year ago? It was one of the two at this track.
And bringing it back to Victory Lane, you mentioned the older victory. I believe that one came in the second season of the competition. So it is, give or take, almost 2 years ago now. So Conklin, you bring it back, but it's a different package and a different skill set up in front. James Thurston kept you honest for the most of the night, but it looks like you had that better pit strategy which kept you up there. So what was it like using the pit road to your advantage to really separate yourself from the field?
When I saw him dive down on the pit road, I knew it was a little too early, so I wanted to give myself, I think I had about like a 10 lap advantage on tires. So then I just went down, took tires. There's still 20 laps left, and it was just enough time to run down Thurston, and we were able to get the win. I thought about taking 2 tires, but I'm glad we didn't, because if we would have fell off there at the end. So the 4 tires was definitely the right call.
And it looks like the proper call on pit road gives way to a crucial race victory. Now, we understand it as Daniel Osteller not racing tonight because of a drop week, so for you, it's a big opportunity to have even more points to back yourself up with to the season's end. So what's it like now understanding that as the situation? And not only that, we've had 2 consecutive big tracks in a row. When you look at the rest of the schedule, up next, Martinsville. We're going to go small once again and have ourselves a short track derby immediately after this 2 race of big.
Yeah, Martinsville will be good. We got a lot of this update should help the racing there. Should see some racing in the second line, and the points advantage is definitely good because we fell back a little bit last race. We fell to second in points, and the reason for that is on the green white checkered we lost internet. On the green white checkered, lost internet, wasn't able to reconnect before the race was over, and got like, I don't know, 17th. So that was not good. So to be able to come back and get the win to put us farther in the lead for the points is good.
And the fight is on for the championship, and Sean Conklin pulls through in a clutch scenario here at the Pocono Raceway. With that being said, anything else you'd like to add after tonight's event?
No, that's it. Just thanks for broadcasting and sticking through this extremely long race. And I hope all the snaking on the straightaways was enough entertainment for you.
There we have it. Using every inch of track tonight, Sean Conklin will pull through as a winner in the Pennsylvania 200. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
And with Sean Conklin back on the move, it's the number 54 machine who gets things done, and it's going to be a 3rd place finish, of course, for River Page. We'll get to his battle in just a moment, but let's talk to the rest of the top 3, and this time by James Thurston, right up next. Another great night for Thurston, but just couldn't capture victory. 20 laps led on the day, and you pull through with the checkered flag in hand for Sean Conklin. Rather, 2nd place for you. Very close overall, and it just looks like tire strategy was the big difference. How was the night here in Pocono?
Yeah, I felt like we could have raced him for the win if we were on the same strategy, but I chose to pit early, and it seemed like it was going to work out okay at first, but then, when the tires just started falling off, it was just kind of just a tire game at that point, and I lost. So, yeah, second's not bad, but I think it could have been a win, but good race, just overall. Except for, the end of the race was pretty good. But, yeah, just thanks to Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports, and hopefully we'll come back better next week and win.
and hoping to come back better, but already a good start here when it comes to the final leg of the tour. Second place finish here, and you led quite a lot of laps, and as you said, pit road. That is the big difference here. 24-lap run till the very end, so you stretched it a bit longer. We saw that call being made a bit early. What was it like when it comes to that distance and that difference in your strategy and trying to stretch it a bit longer?
I was better than Conk was on pit entry. And during the pit, it was just the entire thing. They updated the track, the dynamic track, and everything. And I think before that update, my strategy probably would have worked, but I was just figuring it out, and it doesn't work. So yeah, we just figured that out. But yeah.
Figuring out, of course, something to take away. Second place finish, but we're moving on to a much different track up next in the Martinsville Speedway, second to last race of the season. You think you got the pace to maybe go back at it and perhaps fight for a race victory again?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We'll just have to stay out of all the wrecks, and I think I won there last season, didn't I? So we'll see if we can go back to back there.
And hoping to go back-to-back in number 4 machine. It's a second-place finish tonight here in the Pocono Raceway. James Thurston, anything else you'd like to add after this one?
Nope, I think that's about it.
And there we have it. James Thurston pulls through for a second-place finish, runner-up here in the Pennsylvania 200 at the Pocono Raceway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And just like that, it's going to be James Thurston on the move. One more driver to talk to here in River Page in the number 24, and it was a close battle. Brandon Dugan, River Page, you're watching it on your screen right now. We're playing it back again. Fierce battle to get that third place between you and Brandon Dugan. You barely got it done. So what was it like fighting till the very end to just barely get that third place?
Listen, man, I got to give props to my good friend Brandon Dugan. He put up a great effort here at the end. Unfortunately, he just sold in the final corner. He just couldn't quite get that gas pedal down there, and so I just kind of drove around him. I had the fresher left rear tire, and so I gotta just put the throttle down and just drive around him. Man, it was a pretty fun battle. We did about a lap and a half side by side. It was a good time. He put up a valiant effort, but we got him at the end. So I'm happy about third. I wish I could have won, but I don't think I'll ever beat Conklin or Thurston on pace. So third is the best we'll get. So I'll take it.
And it looks like strategy, of course, a big deal as well as the pace tonight. It looks like your strategy came out pretty well in terms of beating almost everyone else in the field. But what was it like understanding that? I mean, there's a lot of yellow flags to kick off the night. Then we get this green flag run. So was it like flipping a switch in regards to how you took your approach to it? Or was there anything else that really got you to the successful result?
I feel like I could have done better if I pitted with Jim, but I just stayed out. I wanted to pit with Conklin, but I had damage and I didn't take my fast repair because I assumed they were just going to wreck again. And so I was just kind of riding around with damage. I had a pretty bad pit stop, but the strategy, I didn't know what to do. Like, and if this was like any other car, I would understand if undercutting or overcutting would be better, but I didn't. I was pretty clueless on what to do. So I just kind of went with Conklin, and then he got like 3 seconds on me on pit road. So it wasn't, that wasn't helpful. And then I just kind of got stuck by myself. I got Dugan's draft at the end, but if you don't have the car in front of his draft, and I had a bunch of damage, I just couldn't really make up any ground. The only reason I caught Dugan was because he was on 2 tires and I was on 4.
And when it comes down to it, able to catch up at the very end, pull through for a podium. River Page, we're coming to the end of the season here, and there's still 2 more chances at a win. One of which, pretty tricky track in terms of Martinsville, but it's not as big, not as fast as our past 2 circuits, and it might end up with some pushing and shoving. Before we head to Martinsville, you think you're confident for that event?
I think I'm confident as long as I'm not leading on the last lap. I think I'm really confident. Just have to not get wrecked and keep track position. And at the end, if I have a chance to wreck the person who's leading, I will. Just because I need the points. But I think I'm excited for it. I used to really hate Martinsville, but it's one of my favorite tracks. So I think I'm not that good on pace, so I'll just try and have a good time and put myself in a position to wreck the person in front of me on the last lap.
And setting up for success after a 3rd place run night, River Page, you got any final thoughts after this one?
I just want to thank FTN and Elite Performance Industries and Spoke Sciences and everyone else on my car. And you for putting on the broadcast as per usual, and Mason for doing his just fantastic job adminning, and Brandon Dugan for giving me a great battle. And yeah, that's it.
And there we have it. River Page will pull through and get himself a top 3 finish, finishing off our podium here with a fantastic battle with Brandon Dugan here in Pocono. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
River Page on the move, the number 24 machine, the final driver in your podium ceremony, gets things going as we move on next to the Martinsville Speedway next Thursday night, once again at 7:30 Eastern. River Page will come home in third. It's going to be James Thurston second, and your race winner, Sean Conklin, pulls through for the 5th time this season. The man on the mission, Sean Conklin, will get it done once again. A fantastic ending leg of the tour it could be for him to have this momentum and keep the fight going against Daniel Mosteller as the number 87 continues to fight against Ryko's number 54. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of tonight's event. If you enjoyed tonight's action, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. We thank you for your time live on FTN. I hope you have you back for our next broadcast, which looks to be next Thursday night, and that's going to be, once again, the IORA Cup Series, as we'll head back live for the Martinsville Speedway. We'd love to have you there once more. And of course, I've been David Kreutz, live from FTN, and we hope you have a fantastic night. I hope to see you whenever we're live again on FTN.